guys,
Hi
welcome
guys,
again to our YouTube channel. We're excited to have
welcome
you on
back.
board again.
So today we're going to be talking about things we wish we knew before we quote unquote Japa. Basically, things we knew or we feel like you should know before moving to a new environment, to a new country, or even to a new city or a new town in general. It doesn't have to be another country. But yes, so today I will be sharing my own experience, when I was moving here, things I wish I knew, things that I feel like future immigrants and just people who are moving should know. And Jay would also be sharing our own experiences. So my name is Teni and this is Jay. Welcome to the echoes of our voices, and we hope you have a good time here. Let go.
Yeah. So I'll go first and share the thing I thought I should have that would be helpful to people moving, from Nigeria down here specifically, because I can kind of relate to what I should have known before moving down to this country. It might be similar for other countries, but what I thought I should have known, or what I thought I knew that was helpful when I moved. And I'll say first of all, driving.
Hey,
Driving.
Uber.
How many times did I call it? 3 times.
3 times.
Because it
Say
is
if I
very
hear.
key.
Three words is enough for the wise.
Because if you want to learn about before you move to a country outside of Nigeria, I think it's very, very, very important that you know how to drive. Because if you don't know how to drive, think about it. You're gonna have to Uber. If you are in a city where the transportation is not that great, like because I know New York transportation is great, that the bus system is good, the train system is good. People don't even drive in New York. But if you're in a small city, I tell you, you go enter Uber and you go tire. Not only that, you go beg friends for a ride and you go tire.
Like the sweat is even going to be more than the one that Jesus sweated.
Yeah.
Because the amount of like the way public transportation is built in smaller cities is so much different from the way it is in bigger cities like New York, Chicago, and LA. No, even LA. LA's public transport is not that good. But New York and Chicago is probably one of the cities that have the best public transportation. But if you're in a small town in the middle of nowhere where there's like 100,000 people,
like where I schooled, you go tire for real. I'm not even kidding. So
Yeah,
driving is something. Even if you don't have money to buy a car when you
just
arrive,
know how to drive.
Just know how to drive, because then it's easier, because you don't have to think about the first step of learning how to drive when you come here. The only thing you'll be thinking about is how can I raise money to buy a car, or if you have the funds before even coming, good for you. But driving, I cannot overemphasize how important it is, especially when it's cold, because you don't want to be staying out there waiting for a ride or calling Uber and you're out in the cold or trying to go somewhere and it's really cold. It's so difficult to adjust to that kind of situation. So driving for sure will be top of my list. So Teni, give us one.
So another thing I would say is learn the language. You can't go to another person's country and then be expecting them to speak what you speak, but then you're not even willing to put in the effort to communicate with them. A lot of the things that you would see in that country would be in their language, their signs, their book, the menu. So if you are not a native speaker of that country, I would say definitely learn the language before you go, because thankfully in Nigeria we already speak English. So it wasn't really a difficult situation for me moving to the US, because they speak English as well, although they do have some little differences in the spellings, but at least for the most part everybody is able to understand each other whenever I speak.
And if you're watching this video right now, the official language in Nigeria is English language. We learn English in school, we talk in school, at workplace. English is what
English
we
is
speak.
Everywhere in
So
Nigeria.
when you see me, don't ask me if we speak English in Nigeria. If you want.
Yes, we were colonized by the British. The British basically made us speak English. So believe me, I know more English than I do any other language. So we speak English in Nigeria.
And we're blessed to speak another language, which is our tribal language or our native language. So we're bilingual, we can say.
Yes.
But yeah, learning to speak the language is very important. Imagine if you're in a country where they speak French and you're like, what am I gonna do? You're on your own. Because then how do you communicate? Because I had actually had that language barrier actually. When I was flying down from America down to United States, the very first time, my stopover was in Casablanca. And I tell you, I was trying to catch my next flight, trying to figure out how to get to where I'm gonna board, or I had a layover for like I think 18 hours, and I was like, where do I sleep? I was trying to figure things out, and no one single person could help me out. I was so confused. I almost started crying until I found a girl from Nigeria who apparently speaks French because she lives in Canada. So thankfully to her, if you ever find this video, thank you. I appreciate you so much. She was the one who helped me, speak to them and figure out where I needed to stay. So that was helpful. So I can tell you, you don't want to go to a country and you look stupid. Even if you don't know how to speak the language completely,
Yeah,
learn
just
the
know.
basics. It's
Oh
very
yeah,
important. Like learn the basics. So
absolutely.
for sure. And I think another thing is, which is not really something kind of tangible, I would say is that you know the expectations, like know the expectations for sure before you go to another country.
Hmm.
Some people go to another country thinking, oh, all I have to is just jackpot. Know the expectation, know what it is to survive in that country, know how much it's going to cost you to rent an apartment, learn how the system works, how you can be legal in the country. You don't want to go to a country and then your immigration status is shaking. Then
And
you're
you're
like
hiding from
stranded and
the.
you're like running from one place to another. I
Mhm.
know that's not always the case for everyone. Some people have like an unfortunate situation, but it's always good to understand the process, how it works, how you can get legalized in a country before you come in. So that way you can plan things out. You don't want to come here and be stranded. I tell you, you don't want to be stranded for sure.
So one thing I would say that you would need to know, like Jay already said, is knowing the legal process that it takes to actually immigrate to a country, because you don't want to be running away from the law enforcement officers.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I would add is know the culture of the place you're going to. You can do this through maybe reading a book, maybe through watching a documentary. Just know a little bit about the history, the cultural norms, and just basically how they behave in that country. So that way, when you come, it's not going to be a complete shocker to you. For me, growing up, I watched a lot of American shows on Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. We watched a lot of American movies growing up. So it wasn't exactly out of the place when I moved here, because I was okay. At least I could understand some of their references, like some of the jokes that the Americans make. Sometimes if you don't really like know their culture, you just be lost. But just knowing these little things will just make it easier for you to assimilate. It's not like a compulsory thing that you have, but it's just a lot easier for your immigration journey.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important, especially with food again. Because when I first came, I was in a place where I couldn't really access a lot of African food. Thankfully, I brought some food from Nigeria, but that wasn't enough. And those were like dried food. So it took me a while. When I first got here, I tell you, I was looking for pepper. I was looking for correct
Habanero pepper,
atatota, like
yeah, so
peppery
hard to
soup.
find.
I couldn't find that, and it was so hard for me. First 1 week, I literally was like, why did I even come to school? I was so crying that I'm going to have kwashoko.
Because
You know
it's
that
movie.
myth in Nigeria that if you don't eat pepper, you have kwashoko. But I was like so sad that I'm gonna fall sick. It was that bad until I was able to like figure things out and try to adapt to what I see here and try to customize those things to fit to what I would eat on a normal day. So that was really helpful for me. So definitely learn the culture, learn the food, learn how they dress so that you not come here. Yeah, I mean, you can dress, you can remain authentic, but just learn how
You can't
they
be wearing
dress.
agbada in the winter. You will
Yeah,
freeze.
you will freeze for
Yeah, not
sure.
the climate and the weather. Like if you're
Uh-huh.
going from Nigeria to Russia, hey, it's a totally different landscape and climate. So believe me, you definitely want to at least have some clothes that you have packed so you'll be ready for the winter or whatever season they have when you land.
And if you're an immigrant, where I mean, you know what I mean by immigrant, you're born in another country, you're immigrating to another country where you don't have papers. I think you should definitely learn your career pathway. Like, see what career will thrive. Now, I'm not saying you should take away your passion, but try and see how your passion can fit into something that thrives better in this country. For instance, people in
Health.
sciences can do data science, computer science, software. They can become software engineers because that is thriving here. That is a big market here in the United States. So you want to do you want to make sure you learn about, what do I want to do in my career? Like in terms of career when I get here. If you're in healthcare as well, if you're a medical doctor from Nigeria, you want to look at the pathway to practice in this country by writing your steps exam, your USMLA and
Doing
MLE,
residence.
and then doing residency, and then
Yeah.
choosing the practice of your choice. If you're a nurse, you want to write NCLEX and
You can
find
get
a
an
job
agency.
and find an agent that will bring you down to this country and help you or sponsor you, or you can even get here on maybe on a visa, F1 visa for masters, and then eventually find an agency that will sponsor you and then help you to stay legal in this country as a nurse and practice. So pharmacists, so I think they have a pathway, lawyers have a pathway.
Oh yeah.
Just to make
The
sure that
list is
you
endless.
understand and you don't come here and like, what I want to do in my life now. What am I going
Exactly.
to do
You
with
should
my life
already have
now?
that goal.
You should already have a plan, and have a plan A, have a plan B, have a plan C. Now, I'm not saying I should take out the God factor. If you're a Christian, pray and ask for the Spirit to lead you, but then you
Exactly.
have to think ahead and say, okay, if this doesn't work out, then maybe this is gonna be a better plan, or just have plans, like have A, B, and C, because if A doesn't pull through, B can pull through, and even if A would eventually pull through, you can be on B plan before you can then switch back to A. Because I tell you, things happen. People have to go back to school because immigration paper is not going as expected, and so you don't want to come here and be stranded. That one I cannot overemphasize. I don't think another very key thing is, don't think I have one family member here that they'll be giving you
Oh.
$1. They are working working and sweating. So I mean, they are sweating and working.
The
Working,
money is
yeah.
not growing on. In fact, that's another topic we have to cover: black tax and how to
definitely
work hard and actually make the most of the money you earn here.
You
But that would
can't
be a
think you have a
topic for
family
next.
and you come and be taxing them, and if they
No.
don't give you, you'll be so mad because
Yeah,
people are
no, don't
working
be
their ass off,
entitled.
like they are working and it's their hard-earned money. So if they give you something, I appreciate. Don't think I have one auntie and uncle that give me $50, and somebody give me $1,000. Hi, they are working their ass off, and so here is like you get paid for what you do, so you get paid for your labor and your services.
So
People here get paid for their labor and services. So you don't come here and be saying, "Oh, I have a family." You don't have that mindset. Now you have a family there. There's security for you in that. I mean, I don't know what your relationship is with your family, but it's a security in knowing someone here that you are familiar with. But they don't come here and thinking, "Oh, they'll help you fix your life." You gotta fix your life yourself. They're not immigration. They're not
USCIS.
They're not USCIS, which is
not
the United
DHS.
States Immigration Services. They are not. So you have to find a plan of how you're gonna fix yourself.
Exactly.
Don't come here and think your uncle here or your auntie here will fix you. No. Those are the things that people don't like to hear. Like if some uncle is discouraging you to come, I mean, I'm not saying you should let people discourage you, but understand why and plan towards not getting messed up when you get here. I think that's very important, right?
Yes, definitely don't have it like any over entitled or any sense of entitlement towards your family members that are here, because as you are coming, they also have to come by themselves and figure it out. So I would say more or less it's kind of an independent journey traveling to another country. But on the other hand though, it is nice to go to a country where you know at least one person. Don't come from Nigeria to Germany where you don't speak the language, you don't know any single person, and it's going to be a lot harder than someone that came from Nigeria to UK where they have like probably 10 relatives already. So even if you know that one person, it's nice to have, but don't let them be your only crutch to where you now overwhelm them and then they now decide not to help you anymore. So still definitely have that one person that you can rely on, but still be able to be independent by yourself. And another thing I'll add is knowing the location, like the whereabouts. How can you get from point A to point B in this country? Study the map, study the landscape, study the I don't know, like the time zone, the difference in time zone between your home country and where you're going. That's also good to know, so that when you're calling family, it will be easy for you to communicate with them. Also, knowing how you can make international calls from this country is helpful in a cheap way, because it is very expensive. So there are apps that can help you make international calls that won't be too expensive, because if you use the major mobile carriers, you're going to be paying like so much money, like probably $10 per minute or something. So it's really expensive. So that's another thing, is just knowing the time zone differences and how you can communicate with your family members. WhatsApp call is what has been saving a lot of families, because of WhatsApp and FaceTime, it's internet based, so you don't really need to spend money on it.
Yeah, so because when I first came here, I didn't know how the system of calling was. Thankfully, I'm glad we had WhatsApp. We still have WhatsApp. I was able to still keep contact with my family, but here it's not where you just buy credit. You pay a monthly subscription to be able to call, and then that might not even cover international calls depending on the plan you have or the network you're using. So you need to learn about that. So you don't come to a country and the first few months your family's like, where's my daughter, where's my son, and then they are in a state of in a panic state. So you want to learn how the system. I don't know how it works I think it's the same in Canada. So they do monthly subscription. I don't know how it is in the UK, and then sometimes you might have to purchase extra credit to be able to call international calls, to make international calls. So learn that. Another thing for sure I was gonna say is that's keeping my mind right now, but it's very so Japa can be lonely. We're going to talk about that now. It's going to be another different topic. Yes. So learn about Japa loneliness. So you don't go on social media and be crying that there's nobody to help you. You're by yourself. You are depressed. That happens, especially in a country where and that's what we talk about, knowing the culture or knowing how a country is. In America, they mind their business per se. You can live in your neighbor might not even know. You might not even see your neighbor in 1 year.
For 5 years.
Unlike Nigeria, you can go and knock door. Uncle, I never see you for how many days. Or uncle, I haven't seen you in a long time. Auntie, I haven't seen you in a long time.
But not like
that doesn't happen here. They could put a trigger on your head. I mean, people are scared for their lives, and I can't really blame them. But learn for sure. I'm going to a country. How is the social life there?
Yes, the social aspect, the interpersonal relationships that people have within themselves. I would say here it's more individualistic, whereas back home in Nigeria, it's very communal. Everybody knows everybody. But it's not like that here. So knowing that and coming with that expectation will not let your hopes to be crushed, and you won't be disappointed when
Mm-hmm.
you notice that people are not interacting with you the way they did
Yeah.
back home.
And again, it depends on where you are again, because if in some states it's not really diverse. Like if you go to Atlanta, Houston, and Texas now, you might see a lot of people that you can party with every weekend. I'm not saying you should go party, because partying every weekend is not life. So you have to have a balance in your life, or if you go wreck, you're gonna be wrecked.
Yeah,
So
outside is expensive.
yeah. So like it depends on the state you're going to. If for instance you're going to a state where I schooled in Johnson City, Tennessee, a very small state. It's even pretty diverse because there were a lot of Africans there. Compared to if you're somewhere in Wisconsin or you're somewhere in South
Nebraska.
family members I have here, but for sure it's even though they're far away. So even if you have a family, they have their life, they have their kids.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you might end up being on your own and not hearing from anybody for like months, and then later on a checkup on you. But just have it at the back of your mind that where you're going to, you might not have somebody that looks like you. And also that's also learning the culture at the place of work. You might be the only black person there. Learning how those things will happen, and so that when you find yourself in that situation, it's not really overwhelming. Because at the end of the day, even if it's still overwhelming to be the only black somewhere. But just having that back of your mind, I know that there's an opportunity or there's a chance for this to happen, helps you, to kind of like integrate. It's not a shocking thing to you.
Absolutely.
So that's very, very important. So there's so many things, we can talk about.
Yeah, this topic is endless, but this is just the things that I feel like we wish we knew. And last but not least, please try and save a little bit. Have some money in your pocket. I know people always say, "Oh, I came to this country with $0 or with $1 and the clothes on my back." Please,
now lie you.
have a substantial
Not
amount.
true.
Have a substantial amount so that if you're stranded somewhere, you will not be sleeping on the streets, because it's really cold right now. You don't want to be out there on the streets with nobody and no food and starving. So have a substantial amount that you can use to sustain yourself wherever you're going, so that no matter what happens, no matter the emergency situation arises, you will be covered.
I remember I came to this country with a few thousands of dollars. I'm not gonna say exactly how much, but not a lot.
Spending.
So I had it underneath my socks. I was like holding on to that money. I had a little bit of money in my domiciliary account card, but then I still had like cash because I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe on my way from the airport or along the line. So I had to tuck into my socks, and I know that I'm not gonna pull my socks off at the point of checkpoint, or when you're passing through the security check, because you remove your shoes, not the socks. So I know that it was safe there for me, and thankfully I didn't have to touch that money. So even if you're not going to touch, you just have something. Just have something, because if you are coming to school, you need health insurance. You might end up having to pay for health insurance on arrival and things like that. So you don't want to be stranded, and don't go and come to this country thinking, oh, I have accommodation now. You don't have. Accommodation is very crucial. Know where you're gonna stay once you get here. If somebody promises you they will take you in, be sure you have a plan B. But I can tell you for a fact that this girl almost slept on the street. Thank God for God.
Wow.
Because if you depend on people have things can happen to them. So guys, like I said, accommodation is very crucial. You want to be sure you have a sorted accommodation and have a backup plan, except you pay. If it's a friend is going to help your clinical family, make sure you have another plan. But if it's something that you paid for an accommodation in the US, I can tell you for sure, if you sign a lease, nothing would break that lease. I've heard about stories in the UK, in the US, in Canada, how people are being kicked away from their apartment. I don't know how true this story is, because I see it on social media and I see people comment and say, "Oh, that's not true. If you sign a lease, go to the police." Or I've never had that kind of thing happen in the United States. I know if you sign a lease and it's a contract, you're safe. So, but when it comes to like a friend is going to host me, have a plan B. Have a plan B, because anything can happen to that friend. Anything can happen to that friend. You don't want to be stranded. I had somebody I know that, not personally, that had to sleep in the airport for 3 days. You don't want to be like that. It's cold, and if you come during the fall again, you go freeze. You will freeze. So let's be mindful of those important things. I mean, it's very important. If you want to Japa, it's a good thing to Japa. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed the Japa's life now. At first, it's going to be tough, but along the line, with the right support, with the right goals and hard work, I think you would definitely get to a point where you are more stable and enjoying the benefit of Jackpine.
Yes.
But at first, it's
going to be hard. It's a journey. Even we are still on that journey. But I would say, looking back on our college days when we first came in, like if you saw my throwback pictures when I first came in, you'd be like,
I was
God.
so skinny.
Yeah, the way I was skinny. I
wasn't even glowing like this. So
exactly. Look at the glow. Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. So just remember, it's a work in progress. So don't feel impatient. Just try to take it in stride and just enjoy the people you meet up along the way, and the stories that you're able to curate as you come to a new country and a new environment.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you,
Like we
guys.
said, it's good to jackpot. Plan. If you have not jackpot and you think you want to jackpot, please put all the hard work into it and make sure you jackpot. If it's
Exactly.
US, UK, Canada, we might be sharing tips on how to jackpot to the US. You know,
Exactly.
depending
That's
on
where
what
we
career.
are. So that's
Yeah,
where
we're
we
in the
know.
United States for sure. So
Yeah.
we'll share things with you along the line: how to jackpot in the United States, how to be a nurse in the United States, how to progress in your career in the United States as the video comes, and how to even be legal in this country. You know, in the long run.
We
So
can
make
probably
sure.
do, but that one will probably be like a DM sort of thing. So we'll probably start linking our Instagram for anybody that wants to DM us, privately, just to ask questions that you might not be able to share on the channel. So just something.
Yeah, follow us on our Instagram channel. It's the Echoes of Our Voices. Same name on YouTube.
But we'll link it in the description as well.
Yeah. So thank you all so
Thank
much
you guys
for
so
joining.
much for watching. I'm Teni.